Hello, people of the internet. I'm CNoob79 here, coming today, or some of you might know me, Jonah, and I am here submitting my cell project, and let's just get going right away. This is a plant cell, and we had to do this, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's start right away. This is the virus, and it's kind of my own add-on. It did not have to be on here. But pretty much what a virus is it's non-living, and it enters through the cell and reproduces. This is not actually the virus right there. I didn't realize that I had used the exact same thing. Oops. Let's pretend I didn't do that. So, yeah, that's a virus. It's non-living, and it gets the cell to reproduce it, and it's quite a bit more than just tripled. I think it's a bit of a more hefty number that comes out, but I could only fit 3, so 3 viruses came out after only one entered because the cell reproduced more viruses. So let's move on right here. A cell wall, which is something very unique about the plant cell. The plant cell has this cell wall because, well, it's pretty much like a shield, as I think I said just a couple seconds ago. It is pretty much a rigid outer structure, which will, yeah, it's kind of like, it's, keeps the cell, like, from the inside of the cell away from outside of the cell, because the cell is kind of, I don't want to say delicate, but it's not, like, the most secure thing, to say the least. And if they were all bumping against each other, there'd be a lot of exploding things. Probably not exploding, but you know. Next up, as you can see from this sign here, we have the cell membrane, which is pretty much what decides, oh, is it allowed into the cell or is it not? It allows things to leave and come in through the cell, but it is kind of like the judging panel of the cell of what comes in and what doesn't. So it's like the, I'll call it the American Idol judging panel. I don't know. The judging panel of the cell. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, if we move on here, this really crappily written sign, if I was to break that, I'm not going to. It's a cytoplasm. This is all the light blue, wool in this case, but it's cytoplasm. It's kind of, it holds the cell together, and it's pretty, it's a jelly-ish sort material, and it's very, very useful to the cell. As I said, it holds everything together, and if that didn't happen, all this would just be floating around randomly, and that would not be good. Next up, this floating sign, don't ask me why it's floating, is the ribosomes, which, they assemble proteins. There's not much they do. They're very small. They're like little dots in a way, and I used them here, and it's these things, not the blue wool, but right here. And they assemble the proteins, which then end up being energy for the cell. So that's good. And next we have the Golgi body, which is the Golgi body, I don't know what the Golgi body does, crap. This is the Golgi body, let's just say it's the Golgi body, okay? The Golgi body, I think it does do something with the ribosomes. I think it pretty much manufactures the proteins, I'm pretty sure, in terms, and kind of helps, with the, just making some energy for the cell. But the main way to make energy for a cell with no sign, oops, oh crap, is the chloroplasts. And these, once again, are only in the plant cell, and they are pretty much the photosynthesis. They capture this energy from the sun, which is what this is supposed to be, not a virus. And it turns it into energy for the sun, which at this case is water, and as you can see, it kind of flows through the cell, as you can see right there. Crap. Wool. What color of wool is this? That's green, okay. So yeah, that is cool. it's pretty much photosynthesis is this little thing right here. And I'm getting something about my monitor. Okay, next up is nucleus, which is this dark purple stuff, and then the inside is the DNA. The DNA is pretty simple. If you haven't heard of DNA, I don't know what rock you've been living under, but the DNA is what kind of like determines, it kind of makes you in a way. It's like what you get passed on from generation to generation, and it's usually inside the nucleus, which is is pretty much the brain of the cell. It controls everything that happens inside the cell. I think you have a nucleus in your brain, which is pretty much the same thing as this. It controls all activities within the cell, so it's a really big shot thing in the cell. And if we move on here, we have the mitochondrion. Oh, and by the way, there's not just one chloroplast, there's multiple, but this one only has two, so there's one up there. I was talking about the mitochondrion. The mitochondrion is this brown wool, and also, again, I think has something to do with proteins. I'm not really stellar on the entire proteins thing, but it's all protein right here. It's got something to do with proteins, so it kind of locks in with the Golgi body and the ribosomes, I believe. I'm not 100% sure of that. Don't take my word for it. So that's what that does. And the endoplasmic reticulum. Now this is a very, I know it looks really strange. It's juke boxes. And by the way, the mitochondria looks more like a piece of steak in Minecraft. It's supposed to look more like, I think they say a bean-shaped structure, but if you look at the steak, that's what it's supposed to look like. But the endoplasmic reticulum is pretty much what surrounds the nucleus, and it kind of protects the nucleus in a way, but not as much. I think it gives the nucleus energy, or something like that. It does something with the nucleus. I think it kind of protects the nucleus, because there is quite a bit of it. And so if you lost a little bit of it, it would probably not hurt, as long as it did not damage the nucleus of the cell, because if the nucleus was dead, like, this entire thing would just die. So the endoplasmic reticulum is sort of, I think, the shield for the nucleus. And finally, the vacuole, which is this giant thing. In animal cells, they have very small vacuoles everywhere. But the plant cell is one giant one. It is a waste and food storage compartment it's pretty much like a storage locker in a way in the cell, but they don't bid on it. So, yeah, get the reference? That show's so old. But whatever. Excuse me. But, yeah, it temporarily stores wastes and food, so it helps in a big way to the cell. And that's about it. And if I wanted to just do something, yeah, see, there are CDs in here. I'm gonna just finish off like this. So, yeah, that's it for my cell, guys. Sorry for the random dancing at the end there. And I'm just gonna fly off. As you can see, the cell is not very big. And also, the cell has a lot more circular shaped things than it does square. But obviously in Minecraft, making squares is very hard. So, yeah, that's about it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Unless, well, you could be forced to be watching this. But thank you so much for watching. If you're not being forced to watch this in my science class, well, you're probably not being forced to watch. Oh, okay, you might be. But yes, thank you so much for watching. And if you are in my science class and watching this, check me out at MCNoob79. And that's it, folks. Peace out. Okay, I hit the wrong button.